08717 223344. Frank is in Manchester and he's live on TalkSport. Hi, Frank.
How do, Steve?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Let me just go for a bit of a run through. The guy that mentioned about steaks kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's bang on.
Yeah.
Over there, quality of service is superb.
Yeah.
Over here, yeah, we kind of complain, but we don't complain, do we?
Well, the thing was, Frank, I don't think I had too much to complain about in the place. I didn't like it, but
Right.
they weren't doing anything, you know, the food was cooked, the cutlery wasn't dirty, there wasn't
Yeah.
too much to complain about. I just didn't enjoy it.
Why not? Okay, was it 20% they want on their tips?
Well, I'll tell you what they did, which was quite unusual. I've not. This is probably an indication that I should get out more. When I put my card in the wireless machine that they have now, the handheld one, it said to me gratuity, yes or no. So I pressed yes because I wanted to save me change for the vending machine here at TalkSport.
Right.
For a lion bar, have myself a lion bar. Lion bar at 3 a.m.
1980s.
Maybe some hula hoops.
Right.
Anyway.
Go on.
So I pressed yes, and then it offered me 10%, 15%, or 20% as the tip.
Now, where's that coming from? From your account or from their account?
Or it was on as well as the bill. The service wasn't included, but I had the option to say no, which is fair enough. And then what it did, which I thought was quite useful, was said, right, do you want to give? Here's 3 levels of tip, and it's a percentage of your bill. Which I think is very odd.
Yeah.
Because is it harder to fetch a bottle of wine that costs 50 quid than it is to fetch a glass of orange squash that costs £1?
Anyway, going back to I know we're from the same place that we live. Last time I had a great meal was from the Knowsley in Bury.
Really?
Yep.
The Knowsley, that boozer near the bus station?
Yeah, opposite the George.
Right. Well, I'm not going to knock it. Was it one of these places where when I go past, I don't often go in the. Do you know what? The Knowsley. Oh, you're bringing back some bloody memories.
Oh well, it's next to Metrolink.
Yeah, right next to the bus station.
That's right. Yeah.
But what was it? I mean, that is a chain, and was it one of these deals where you can get?
I don't think it's a chain. It used to be. Around the corner, you've got Witherspoons, haven't you?
Yeah, like every high street in Britain, there's a Wetherspoons just along from it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did a bit of a run a few years ago. I went down Bell Lane. You know Bell Lane, don't you?
Yes.
And they're all shut down now.
All the pubs?
Yeah.
Well, my dad used to do that pub crawl. That was, I mean, at risk of sounding incredibly parochial, there was it was a legendary pub crawl. You used to start up at Birtle, between going up to towards Rochdale, and then my father said, and my dad's not a wilting wallflower by any consideration. He said there were that many pubs you could only have halves. If you drank pints, you never would have made it into Bury because there were. I don't know how many pubs there were, but this is only a couple of miles at the most. And there were well over 20 on that stretch. Maybe 2 dozen. Go on.
What do kids do these days? We used to have pub crawls.
Yeah.
What do they do?
What do? They play video games.
Right.
They eat too much because they're all obese apparently.
They're all fat.
And they're unhappy because that was one of the things I was going to talk about. I was thinking about tonight because there was this survey.
We'll make it next week for that one.
Well, they were saying there's a survey that came out that said half of Britain's teenagers are unhappy with their life.
But where do they go to? I just got it right, mate. I'm not the oldest or not the youngest person in the world, but I had a great time back in the 90s.
Yeah.
When pubs used to be open, you could have a smoke, you could do what you want. It was great stuff. But now they seem to be closed down to all these kids.
Well, the pubs should be closed. I don't think we should be encouraging kids to go to pubs, Frank, although...
I'm not saying that.
Although we all knew somewhere. I mean, the thing was, Frank, right, by the time I was 16, I'd been working on my own behalf for 3 years.
Okay.
Right? I'd been working Saturdays and Sundays on Berry Market on Saturdays.
Oh, Berry Market, black pudding.
And then Sundays in the warehouse district around Manchester, just casual labouring, to pick up my own money, because my dad said to me, right, you're 13 now, forget pocket money. If you want money, go and earn it. Which is fair enough, because that's what he had to do, for goodness sake. He was working before that. So,
of course he did.
Me and my brother both did, and so did most of my mates. So by the time we get to... I tell you what, if you work and earn your own money when you're 13, by the time you get to 16, you've done a lot of growing up, because you've seen a lot of stuff.
That's right.
That a lot of kids today don't. I tried to get my lad a job. In fact, my pal offered him a job. He said to me, when your lad's old enough, because he knows he's got an interest in cars and engines and stuff like that, like I have, he said, when your lad's old enough, he can come and work here on Saturdays. So I said to him a year or so ago, I said, will you give my lad a job? And he went, yeah. So he said, send him to see me on Saturday morning, tell him to come round. So get this, I buy him some overalls and some steel-toe boots. I went out and went to the trouble of buying him some steel-toe boots. He said, if you're working in the garage, you can't do it in pumps and jeans. You need overalls and steel-toe boots. So I went and got him them. I said, right, put him in a bag. I said, right, there's some money for your lunch. Go and see Tony. He comes back and he said, oh, Tony's been on and the insurance won't let him, and he's not allowed until I'm 17 and all this business. So how on earth do kids, how do they learn about work and earning their own money and stuff like that?
I got my first job when I was 11. It was a milk round. 11?
Doing what? Going up a chimney?
Milk round. It was a milk round.
Oh, a milk round. Right.
Yeah, a milk round with the local guy used to come around. I used to love it.
Do you know what we used to do? Right, I'll tell you, you'll have this story as well, Frank, I would imagine.
Go on.
Me and my pal Nigel Harrison used to work for Sid Goodman, who had a stall on Berry Market. And the other thing that Sid, he was a nice Jewish chap from Prestwich. And he used to...
Prestwich, aye.
Yeah, and he used to go round, we used to go round with him on Sunday, dropping off bolts of... Because they call it a bolt, don't they, a length of cloth. Dropping off bolts of cloth at various... I'm not being funny, this is back in the day, sweatshops, because that's what they were. Well, that's what they were. They were basically, they were basically pokey rooms in Manchester, full of sewing machines, at which there would be lots of women.
That's what Korea's doing now.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. We'd go round, and we'd drop off bolts of cloth. And do you know how we did it? And this'll charm you, I'd imagine, Frank. Me and Nigel used to stand on the quarter bumpers on the Ford Transit and hold onto the gutter round the roof while we rattled round Manchester.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, but you used to do that, the milk lads. All the milk lads used to stand on the bumper on the back.
Oh, that's right, yeah, the back of it. Back of it.
Well, we haven't got time to ask about. We couldn't be getting in and out of the car or the transit all the time. We used to stand on the quarter bumper, hold onto the gutter. We'd pull up outside this place, and we'd open the back doors, and he'd say... I won't do his accent because people say it's racist or something, but he was a Jewish gentleman from Manchester. He had a distinctive accent. Yeah. And he'd say...
A lot of folk from Prestwich was Jewish on the old Sabbath day.
Absolutely. He'd say, get in there, you boys. Get in there. Get down those steps like this.
That's right.
It was like...
Superb.
He had a saying which is...
Go on.
Say something if it's only good night nurse. It was like he said to us, if you're not doing something... then you might as well go home. So, it's like he said, if I find you on the stall and you're not tidying or you're not serving or you're not doing something, then why am I paying you?
Exactly.
So what you found yourself doing was, and this to a lot of younger people is going to sound completely insane. What you'd find yourself doing is undoing the work that you'd just done and doing it again. So that if he came back, you weren't doing nothing. Because he did it loads of times in front of me. If you were doing nothing, he sacked you. Simple as that. You got sacked.
Well, that's what you want. You want these days. All right, just for a go, Stephen. What it is? Remember the Odeon in Bury, Dixit Joke Shop?
There was a joke shop there as well, wasn't there? Yeah.
Right.
You never see a joke shop now.
No, you don't.
I bet there's not one left in Britain.
No,
I bet.
You had one in Tib Street in Manchester.
There's not still a joke shop on Tib Street.
No, there's not.
All right.
No, it was the last one.
How did they keep going?
I don't know. Who makes jokes? Shop? I don't know.
Back selling fake dog poo and those chattering teeth.
Anyway, next door to the Odeon.
Yeah.
I went to there one night. It was freezing cold in the Odeon. In that cinema, I watched a film called Invasion of the Giant Spiders.
Oh, God.
Well, before that was a classic cinema, remember?
The classic, absolutely.
Yeah, the classic. And you had in Whitefield, the Mayfair.
Well, I went to, I was in Anaheim, California, right, with work, and we were filming this guy who builds these incredible hot rod cars, a guy called Boyd Coddington. He's in a program called American Hot Rod. You sometimes see it on Discovery or Quest or whatever it is.
Oh,
anyway.
Can I just stop you for a second?
Go on.
I love the sound of...
Breaking glass.
No, muscle cars.
Oh, right.
Just when they start up, the purring sound of them cars are unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you the story. I went in, and it was all very Californian and very American and all this.
Yeah.
And they said, the cameraman says to me, "Hey, Steve, the lad that runs the body shop's from Bury." And I went through, and the guy says to me, "Are you from Bury?"
Couldn't believe it.
I went, "Yeah." So I said, how come you end up here doing this? And he said, "Well, I served an apprenticeship at Coleman Mill in Bolton." Now, anyone who's been in a wedding car, or anybody who's been to a funeral, has probably travelled in a Coleman Mill vehicle, because they are the people that make hearses and limousines and all that sort of thing. Proper ones. And so he'd served his apprenticeship there, and then his parents had decided to move to California, so he'd gone with them, and he'd risen up through the ranks, and he'd ended up, because he had skills that they don't really have there, proper coach building, properly trained, properly apprenticed a lot, he'd ended up doing that. So he says to me, "Oh, it's 20 years since I was in Bury." He said, "I bet the classic's still there, isn't it?" I went, "No." So he said, "What about the Royal Huntsman opposite?" He said, I drank a few pints. I said, "No, that's gone as well, it's Specsavers." He said, "You're not telling me the Rainer's Vaults has gone?" Now, the Rainer's Vaults in Bury, you talked about the Norsley. The Rainer's Vaults was where entire generations of people from, and there'll be a boozer like this, or there would have been, in every single town in Britain. Yeah. That was where everyone had their first drink on licensed premises. Yeah. If you could see over the bar, they'd serve you. Do you know what I mean?
Just before you go, whatever, I know you've got lots of things to do. Can I tell you a classic?
You can if you like.
Vibes Records.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, listen, we were talking about it last week, because we were...
Oh, I missed that.
Well, we were talking about independent record shops.
Yeah, he went... it was Tony, wasn't it?
He was a cool guy, Tony.
Yeah.
He smoked funny cigarette. I mean, like, I think he smoked those Sobrane ones.
Yeah,
do you remember them? And he had a pearlescent white Porsche 911 Turbo. Now that's cool.
Yeah.
That in the 80s.
You're right. You used to park it at the back of the Vibes, didn't he?
In the 80s. That was cool, wasn't it?
84. When I used to go on there, buy all my tunes, he was there.